Imagine bleeding in your white wedding dress, in front of your groom, the church, and all your guests. This is the true story of Diana, a 27-year-old bride whose dream wedding was destroyed, not by fate, but by her best friend. Lagos is a place of bright lights, but behind those lights are shadows. For Diana, 27, a hardworking and kind-hearted woman, the person hiding in the shadows was the one she trusted the most, her best friend, Emanuela, also known as Nuella. They had been friends for nearly 10 years, through university, breakups, family problems, and dreams of the future. Diana never imagined that the same person she once called sister would be the one to ruin the most important day of her life. They had been inseparable for almost a decade, through university days, shared secrets, and dreams of a brighter future. Diana believed Nuella was not just a friend, but a sister by heart. Then came Chitty, a tall, gentle, dark-skinned man in his early 30s with kind eyes and a refined sense of style. Meeting him in church, Diana discovered a love that promised hope and renewal. Diana had found love. His name was Chitty, tall, gentle, respectful. They met in church, fell in love slowly, and after 2 years, he proposed. It was the kind of love that made Diana feel safe, and made Nuella feel sick with jealousy. At first, Nuella pretended to be happy. She helped plan the wedding, went dress shopping, smiled through the bridal shower. But behind those smiles was a storm that had started long before the engagement ring was even on Diana's finger. With love blossoming, wedding plans moved swiftly. Diana immersed herself in preparations, her heart light with excitement. And Nuella? She wore a mask of joy, all the while simmering with hidden resentment. She had once loved Chitty. Quietly. Secretly. He had picked Diana instead. And Nuella never forgave that. So while Diana planned for joy, Nuella planned for pain. 2 weeks before the wedding, Nuella traveled to a remote part of Betrayal. There, she met a juju priest who promised her a potion. She will bleed, and no one will know why, he told her. Her shame will be unforgettable. The priest's words were chilling: give her a taste of her own joy. Let her beauty be marred, and her honor stripped away. With this sinister advice, Nuella accepted the potion with a cold determination. The night before the wedding, Nuella slept over at Diana's place. She helped with last-minute prep, laughed with her, and even prayed with her. But the poison was already hidden, inside a small bottle tucked in her makeup bag. On the morning of the wedding, Nuella offered to make breakfast. She served Diana yam and egg sauce, and secretly mixed the dark concoction into her food. Diana thanked her with a hug, completely unaware. By 10 a.m. the bride was dressed, glowing, and ready. The church was packed. The choir was singing. Chitty waited at the altar. But as Diana took her first step down the aisle, the unthinkable happened. A warm trickle slid down Diana's legs. Then it became a stream. Her gown, once pure white, was soaked in red. Gasps echoed. Someone screamed. Diana froze in place, staring at herself, in shock and horror. Murmurs grew into gasps. The joyous melody of the choir abruptly gave way to cries of disbelief. Chitty stood frozen at the altar, his expression a mixture of horror and utter heartbreak. Time seemed to slow as Diana stood immobilized, the reality of what was happening crashing down upon her. Every step she had taken was now marred by blood and betrayal. Tears welled in Diana's eyes as confusion and pain merged into one unbearable moment. The beauty of her wedding day now felt like a cruel illusion, shattered by malicious intent. In that heart-wrenching moment, whispers began circulating. The unspoken terror of a cursed day quickly spread among the guests and rippled through every corner of the church. Chitty's heart shattered as he stepped forward, torn between the man who had vowed to protect her and the surreal nightmare unfolding before him. Outside, Nuella observed with a cold detachment, a look that betrayed nothing of the inner satisfaction that her envy had summoned. The ceremony halted abruptly. Officials quickly ushered guests out, and the church filled with an oppressive silence, a silence laden with shock and unspeakable grief. In the aftermath, whispers transformed into harsh accusations. Some wondered if Diana's misfortune was a curse, while others believed a darker force had been at play. That day, Diana's wedding was not only a union of souls, but also a betrayal of trust, her joy stolen and replaced with an unending ache. Days turned into weeks as the story of Diana's ruined wedding spread through Lagos like wildfire, each retelling amplifying the tragedy. Diana withdrew into herself, haunted by memories of that day. Every reflection, every whispered rumor felt like a dagger to her wounded heart. Chitty visited her daily, a constant pillar of support. His love remained unwavering, though his own eyes were brimming with despair at the sight of her pain. Friends and family tried to lift her spirits, but each attempt was a reminder of the betrayal. The scars on that wedding day were not just physical, they cut deep into her soul. Meanwhile, Nuella's outward composure never wavered. In public, she feigned concern and regret, but behind closed doors, she reveled in the ruin she had orchestrated. The truth began to seep out when a neighbor, burdened by guilt, secretly recorded Nuella bragging about the juju ritual that had marred Diana's special day. When the recording surfaced, whispers turned into outright accusations. The community was abuzz, and even those who had once supported Nuella were forced to confront the darkness behind her smile. Diana listened in disbelief as evidence of Nuella's betrayal emerged. The pain of knowing that a friend could orchestrate such cruelty was a heavy burden on her fragile heart. Chitty, devastated yet resolute, vowed to stand by Diana. He sought answers, not out of anger, but to help her reclaim the dignity stolen from her that day. Investigations were initiated, led by community leaders and local authorities determined to expose the dark underbelly of juju rituals in Lagos. The trial that followed was as controversial as it was heart-wrenching. Nuella, once the embodiment of friendship, was now the accused in a scandal that rocked the city. During testimonies, emotional families recounted the pain inflicted upon Diana. Each word was a reminder of the trust that had been shattered that fateful day. Diana's testimony was the most heartrending of all. She recounted every detail with a quivering voice, each syllable laced with sorrow and disbelief. Public opinion swayed. Many in Lagos began questioning the sanctity of friendship and the dangerous allure of envy. The case stirred debates across community gatherings and family dinners. Nuella maintained her silence in court, her expression unreadable, even as the damning evidence was played. The contrast between her public persona and her private malice was stark. For Diana, every day was a struggle, a battle between longing for the past and the harsh reality of betrayal. The physical scars of that day were a constant reminder of lost innocence. Chitty became her unyielding rock. His visits, filled with soft words and gentle caresses, offered her a lifeline in the wreckage of her shattered dreams. Yet, despite the support, Diana's heart ached with the betrayal. The wounds inflicted by Nuella's actions ran deep, leaving scars no amount of love could erase. As the trial dragged on, Lagos buzzed with divided opinions. Whispers of juju curses intermingled with calls for justice, uniting and tearing the community apart. The final verdict, when it came, was a complex tapestry of regret and relief, a bittersweet closure in a case that had already shattered lives. Nuella was sentenced, but justice felt hollow to Diana. The pain she endured was not something a courtroom could ever repair. In the quiet aftermath, Diana retreated from the public eye. The spark in her eyes was dimmed, replaced by the burden of memories too heavy to bear. Chitty remained by her side, a constant reminder of what love endures, even when dreams shatter like fragile glass. News of the incident served as a cautionary tale throughout Lagos. Parents warned their children, and friends grew wary, knowing that envy can hide behind the sweetest smiles. Diana's story became a somber legend, a reminder of the peril of misplaced trust. Her pain resonated with many who had been burned by the very people they held dear. Every anniversary of that cursed day, Diana would revisit the memories, a painful ritual of reflection that kept the heartbreak raw and unforgotten. Through it all, Chitty's steadfast love became her beacon, a light in an otherwise dark, unforgiving world. The painful lessons of that day echoed far beyond the walls of the church, teaching Lagos a harsh truth about betrayal, trust, and the hidden dangers of envy. For Diana, the journey to healing was long and riddled with tears. Yet, every scar became a reminder that even in betrayal, the strength to rise anew is born. Today, Diana's story remains a solemn testament, a reminder that sometimes, the ones we trust most can become the very source of our deepest wounds. In Lagos, where darkness and light entwine, her pain and resilience echo as a caution, trust wisely. Diana's story is a painful reminder that not all friends are truly happy for you, some are smiling in your face while stabbing you in the back. Be careful who you trust, jealousy wears many faces. Have you ever been betrayed by someone close? Share your story in the comments.